season 22-23. This is our time. Our time is now. The feeling is all around. Everywhere we look and down. I have no trust in what I can see. I have no trust in what I could be. And while we live face the time is now, so come with me. I feel it coming. No one's stopping. Feel it coming. No one's stopping. The time is now. The time is now. The time is We're back.
Hey, round of applause for Daz, by the way. That is a great intro. Fantastic.
It's only for tonight. 2 minutes for tonight. Don't worry, everyone. It won't be every week or every day. But we're back. Reaction shows are back. We delayed it a bit so I could make it back and we could gather our thoughts. And I'm still wrecked. But yeah, let's get into it, boys. How is everything? Great to finally meet you. Actually, first thing, finally meet you face to face in 3D. Amazing.
Love it. Nah, I've got to be honest, it was great for, as you quite well put it, 80% of the loaded team together. Obviously, we miss Martin. No doubt the next one will be a monster because we'll all be together. But it was great to finally meet you, Daz. It's been too long. And actually spend a little bit of time with you all, really. I think, Chris, we've been on a number of away games together where we spent a bit of time together. Not even spent that long a time with Richie before, so it was great to speak to yourself and Richie, really kind of chew the fat football wise and celebrate what was a fantastic start to the season. So all good from my end, mate. Brilliant stuff.
Nice one, Pete.
Absolutely.
Chris, any praises from me?
Hey, it was an absolute pleasure to meet you. Obviously, it's been a long time overdue. So it was nice, and as Pete said, 80% of us being there. Mark was obviously a big miss, but it was nice. It was nice us all getting together. And the only other, well, in fact, there is one more thing I was going to say. It was also very nice to meet childhood hero in Pedro. That was really nice. That was a nice bonus for Pete and I and Rich. But Daz, next time, hopefully, you get to meet Pedro. That would be good. And
there he is.
There he is.
Daz,
yeah.
Daz, you were the eager beaver. You were desperate to get into the ground. It's been so long. You wanted to get into the ground. You're missing him, but I'm sure there'll be another time, mate.
There's a long story behind that, and yeah, I promised one of the lads, Carl, that I would meet him, but it's too long of a story. We kept going around in circles all through the time I was over there, but we're definitely going to link up the next time. But no, great, met so many people actually. Just on the Friday night, drinking with Richie and Simon, Andre from Bulgaria as well, and then Mitch and Steve Hasty, amazing, and then meeting everyone from Matters and everyone we've interacted with, and loads of people we've had in the shows, and then people that just kind of tap me on the shoulder and say, talked to me, and I had no idea who they were. And I said, "Who are you? What's your name?" You know, it's just amazing. But it's a totally different experience than I've ever had before. Back the last time I was in Newcastle, it was just absolutely mental on the Saturday. And of course, I was hungover as well. So apologies from the Friday night. But let's get it. Never apologize.
Don't apologise for that, mate.
Do you know what? Just to add as well, it was great meeting Stu and Mitch for the first time as well. Like obviously, really good friends of the channel, and I'd never had the opportunity to meet them face to face. So that was up there with Pedro for me as well. Meeting Stu and Mitch, you know, that was really nice. And obviously, boys, which I'm sure we're going to get into, it was nice to give it one of them as well.
Oh, we're getting into that. We're getting into that, Chris. And also, obviously, as well, lovely to meet Steve Wraith. Finally got to meet Steve after, how many years? Is it 3 years now or something like that? And everyone, and Holly, look, I'm going to leave out names. So I've started names. But yeah, everyone that I met. So it was absolutely brilliant. And I'm definitely going again. I'm back in April. And so as Chris said, so is Martin as well. All 5 of us are over for the Southampton game in April. And you never know where we might pop up in between there and then as well. But let's get into the game. So, can anyone remember the game, first of all? I did watch Match of the Day. But let me just bring up the team use. And first of all, it was kind of... I suppose it was a surprise because I was just leaving the pub actually when the team was going in, and the signal in St. James's Park and order, sort that out, please. It's desperate for mobile coverage. But yeah, I suppose Dan Byrne in there, no Botman, and he justified his plays, that's for sure. Botman got a run out at the very end. And the other one that was kind of up for debate was probably Joe Willock. A lot of people thought potentially Sean Longstaff would go in there. Joe Willock started and had a good game as well. So thoughts on the team, lads, when it was announced?
I'm going to let Pete start with this, Daz, because I know Pete was very upset with one person who'd been left out.
I'll be honest with you, I wasn't the only one. Me and Stu Penman were like, when we were all in the pub together, me and Stu Penman were the only ones kind of like fighting the corner of Botman. It has to be Botman, it has to be. And I know Geordie Toon for Life is probably in there somewhere. And I'll put the comments up on in a second, with a big smile on his face, because he was adamant that it was going to be Burn and Schar, and I wasn't. But I've got to be honest, I was shocked. I thought Botman would play purely because, you know, you don't spend so much money on such a big player and prize him away from Champions League and Serie A winners, AC Milan, to not put him in the team. But Eddie Howe does. This is what he does. This is what he gets paid for. And
Bruno, of course.
Yeah, Bruno, he did the same thing. And I can't fault it whatsoever.
Chris, your thoughts on the team when you heard it, and you consoling Pete?
Yeah, to be honest, I went straight over to Pete, and I was going, Geordie Toon for Life is going to be on you now. I mean, to be fair, I was as equally disappointed, because I was really looking forward, to seeing Sven Botman in the flesh. But don't get me wrong, I didn't. When I say I was disappointed not to see Botman, but it's not that I was worried about Dan Burn in any way, shape, or form. Like, Dan Burn was a really good performer last season, so I wasn't worried, put it that way. The midfield three kind of picked themselves for me. I know some people were saying they thought Sean Longstaff might play, but I personally just didn't see it. And then obviously up front, I was really, really pleased that Miggy got a start, because I think it was Jordan, wasn't it, Pete, who was saying there, he thinks that Fraser might start on the right wing, and I thought it would have been a really really harsh decision for Eddie to drop Miggy, especially given the pre-season that he's had. He's been absolutely fantastic. So for Eddie to, show Miggy that support and that, loyalty, if you like, I thought was great. And Miggy didn't disappoint me too much either. I thought he ran his socks off, but I won't go into it too much yet, because I know there's probably other things you want to discuss first, Az.
Yeah. We will get it. Maybe when we're talking about man of the match, maybe we'll actually run through all the team and give our opinion on all of them. But of course, Forest turned up as well, and it was nice of them to get together and get to know each other. First time meeting each other, I'm sure. Like us, they were in the same position as us, lads. So many, yeah. But so that was the Forest team, and then I can't miss the war flags. is absolutely amazing. That was my first time ever
unreal.
experienced it.
Unreal, man.
Wow.
So
You know how you guys were crying, some of you were crying on the takeover night. There was a tear coming to my eye with the war facts. It was just so emotional, like it's just amazing, and it just kind of gets you, doesn't it? Oh, unreal. But yeah, so let's look at some of the pictures from this was unreal, the new banner. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for NUFC, and we're feeling good. Absolutely amazing. And with everyone to the flags, and just people know, people experience this every 2 weeks when there's a game. But
I was going to say that. Sorry, me and Chris had to try and read that backwards.
Yeah. And then the music come on, didn't it, Peter? We were like, there we go.
Was it. It was like literally a light bulb moment for both of us simultaneously, because we're trying to read it and there's people around us going, what does it say? What does it say? Because we were right at the top of the Gallagher, and then the music comes on and we're like, everyone at the same time is like, there we go. Me and Chris were the same. It was like, it made sense at that point, but amazing. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's what we're here for, to interrupt each other and chat our opinions on the thing. It's we make it up as we go along, as everybody knows at this stage. And feel free to curse Pete, because I'm ready for you. I know what you're like.
I've heard. I think I will at some point tonight, just for the hell of it.
So then Trippier was captain as well. I'll get your opinions on the first half. My memory of it was just we bombarded them. We had corner after corner after corner. They didn't really have a chance at all, which is great. And you're just kind of thinking, is it going to be one of those days? Are we going to break the deadlock here? And then you kind of talked about it a bit after the game. Do we have, if we needed to?
He's already.
I got out of there when that team just came out.
Maybe we were all there, mate. I want to just set the scene here for Johnny Toon for life. So we're all in the black and white bull. We're all gabbing and everything. I turned up a bit later because my train got cancelled. So I think I turned up about. Oh no, it was with Pete, wasn't it? Pete, we turned up to me. It was
Gibbo and John Anderson had started talking as he came in as well.
Yeah, that's right. And so we were like trying to like say our hellos and everything a bit quite quietly because they were talking, so we didn't want to like just come in and go So we were like waving at people and stuff. And then it got to about 5-2, and we were watching the Liverpool Fulham game, and we were all going, "Oh, when's what the lineup's going to be? When's the lineup's going to be?" And literally as soon as the lineup broke, I went straight over to Pete and went, "Botman's not starting, you know." Pete's face just dropped. It was just like, it was good. But yeah, Geordie Toon for life. You were there in spirit, mate. I made sure you were, and we hadn't forgotten what you'd said the night before. Was it the night before or the Thursday? I think it was the night before, wasn't it? Was it Friday? We was on the show.
It might have been the night before, actually. Yeah,
I think it was.
Ben Jacobs one. The Ben Jacobs.
Yeah, that's it. Ben Jacobs. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so I was just kind of a bit worried then at halftime. Is it going to be one of those days that we don't put the ball in the back of the net after chance after chance? But then as we said after the game, do we have options on the bench, something to change it, something to click in? And that's where we need a bit of strength and depth. But hopefully that'll come. There's another couple of weeks left, 3 weeks or so for something to happen there. But your thoughts on the first half, lads, if you can remember it back.
Want to go, Pete?
I'll be honest, I was checking the comments. I didn't even hear what Dad said just then.
That's it, Pete. That's it. If he's not going to listen to me, he's not going to. Pete, I was just asking about the first half. Thoughts on the first half, mate?
Domination. I don't think there's any other word that I could use other than that. It was total domination. Now, the one thing that's important to kind of, for those that may have not watched the game, only watched the highlights, I don't even think the highlights, whether you watched it on Sky Match of the Day, truly show the domination that Newcastle had in that game. If you were lucky enough to get a stream and watch it, you would have seen it. We dominated Nottingham Forest from the first second right up until half-time. We were the better team. And if you look at the team that Daz put up for Forest, that's an attacking team. You look at the formation. If you go back to away days, and Mr. Dior, who I haven't heard from since the game finished,
he's hiding.
I have to say. Hopefully, he could pop in the chat tonight. But they put an attacking team out, a team that was going to attack. they didn't do anything.
No.
They did not do anything. And I just think it was total domination, possession, attacking, physicality. Everything about Newcastle was dominating. It was just amazing to see.
Cool. Chris, any thoughts, extra thoughts in the first half?
Yeah, I mean, like Pete's already said, it was total domination. I mean, like that was the weird thing for me leaving the ground. You know, after obviously, you know, we'd won, and it felt different. It felt different, and that was in no small part down to the first half, because it was just how we managed the game. And if you actually look back at the stats, which Daz, I don't know whether you've got ready or whether we can look at them later, but
I have. No, let's do it now.
Yeah, I mean, the stats, maybe not just for the first half, but I reckon a lot of them will have come from the first half. But yeah, it was just total domination. And like Pete said, you know, it felt, to me, it felt like watching a different team, I've got to be honest, because as much as we played fantastically well under Eddie Howe in the second part of last season, we didn't dominate like that. And I, like a few others, thought that Forest would put up a good fight. I thought, you know, they've got Lingard, that, you know, first game back in the Premier League season, there's going to be a bounce, and there just wasn't. We just literally we just controlled the whole game. And first half, I suppose the overwhelming feeling for me at half time was, are we actually going to break through? Are we actually going to make all of this possession, all of these chances, all of this threat? Are we going to make it count? It did feel like we were nearly there. And obviously, you know, there was a couple of half chances, but I was a little bit nervous because I was thinking, oh God, you know, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? But in the end, you know, we managed to do that. And, you know, second half was just a pleasure in the end. Soon as that first goal went in, I just thought, yeah, we'll be fine now. And this was the nice thing, because in that second half, as soon as that goal went in, you could sense the relief within the stadium, and you knew that they weren't going to come back into it because of what we'd seen, you know, leading up to the first goal.
Exactly, Chris. And let's get into that goal. So an absolute, a lot of, you were saying that, I can't even remember back, but it was very similar to the Burnley goal that Schar scored last season. But what I was delighted and a bit selfish that when we were playing, it was my half of the pitch. I was in the Milburn stand, and it was right in front of me. So it was the opposite side that Schar shot, but the second goal was right in front of me. But yeah, it was absolutely unbelievable, the shot from Schar. And of course, when it went in, the place erupted as always. But I was there. I thought it was Schar, and I was giving it all this, and then like a minute later, I was thinking, it is Schar, isn't it? It wasn't Miggy, and I'm still doing this. And but yeah, call it right, it was Schar. So and what a goal, what a strike. And you know what? It's no point me doing it. Let's get the man himself doing it. Hang on, where I
yes,
have it here. Yes. I have it here. Not the goal. Yeah, get him doing it.
Mate.
Oh, I love it.
Class. Yeah, when that goal went in. Oh, go on, Pete.
I was going to say I have to just to jump in there, because Kamal put this one especially for you, Chris.
Yeah.
And he's got the old little there for you. Mate. So Schar and Chris got to do that, and yeah, I love it. It was like me and you were just jumping up, going absolutely mad, and then all of a sudden I just saw the old finger for Chris come out of nowhere, and the old spinner. Really, I love it.
It was so good. Like I literally just. When the goal went in, straight away I thought of Burnley, because obviously he did that goal against Burnley. But the relief around the stadium, and then I jumped on Pete. Me and Pete were jumping up and down, and then the fingers were out, and then we were like you, Daz, it was a bit like, that was Schar, wasn't it? It was definitely Schar. And then we said Fabian Schar. We're like, yes.
Yeah. You were up the opposite end. You were in the Gallagher chair, so it was.
Yeah. We were behind it as easy.
Oh, definitely.
Can I just go to a couple of comments? Johnny Paul, I've got a question from you or a comment from you that we'll bring up later on in the show. But welcome to the show. He's just joined the stream. Pleasure to have you on. I don't think I've seen you on the chat before, so great to have you on. I'm not going to put his comment on right now because I think it's a good one for later. But a couple of other things on here from one or two in the chat. We've got Ray. Thank you, Ray, for your super sticker.
Cheers, Ray.
£4.49. Absolutely spot on. Really, really appreciate that. And Geordie Mick. I know Geordie Mick's not well at the moment. I know he's got a nasty injury. So massive thanks for your £5 contribution. And we did all have a fantastic weekend. I just wanted to give out those couple of shout outs. But then there's one more here from Mr. Carl T. Evening, lads. Never mind. Where's Henry Maurice? Where's Dad? And he running the show as well. So yeah,
do you know what was dead funny about that as well? I was in the Black and Bull, not the Black and White Bull. I was in the Dog and Parrot after the game, and I think I'd left you two inside. And as I'm walking out, I was like, "Oh, there's Carl." And then Carl was like, "Oh, hi, Chris, how you doing, lad?" He's like, "Oh, I was meant to meet up with Daz today, but I couldn't find him." I was like, "He's in that pub, you know." I said, "He's in there." But I don't know whether he managed to pop in and see you or not, because he was with his family and his kids.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Oh, a long story.
Yeah,
I could do an episode on that alone. But no, anyone that does know Carl, he's been on Live Line before. You'll never see him on the channel again, though. He is banned.
Love it.
Good luck, Carl.
Just two more from me. Sorry, really quickly. Paul Oxley said, "Surprised I didn't meet Spenny." I did meet Spenny very quickly as we entered. Spenny Mag was just leaving to go to Shearer's bar, so managed to say hello for Spenny. First time I've met Spenny personally, but we did, Paul. We managed to meet him, and Andrew Gutty. We didn't get to meet you. As I've said, he's not been too well at the moment. So I hope you're feeling better soon. Thank you for tuning in. Always in the chat, Andrew. Just like Paul and many others. So really, really appreciate your support for the channel, and hope you feel better soon. But yeah, that was just a few. Cool. Thrown in there, so apologies, mate.
Cool. Yeah, and we'll hopefully get to meet Andy the next time I'm over as well. And yeah, you're spinning too. And fair play to Spinning. He's lost a load of weight. You hardly recognize him, but great to meet him as well after so many match day lives we did in the past as well. So that's great. Cool. Anything else you want to say about the Schar goal, Pete?
It was just a thunder bastard, really. It was absolute quality. It was one of them that it almost felt like we needed one of those moments to break the deadlock, because it was like we were getting into great moments and just trying too hard to kind of penetrate them and get that goal. We just needed that absolute rocket from Schar, and it was very much that inexperience from Forest, because if you're a Premier League team, you know Schar's capable of that, but it's almost like they hadn't done their work. And he picked up that ball, and as soon as he picked it up, you're thinking, if he can get another touch on this and a little bit of a run, he can have a shot here. And you could hear the fans and the shout, the screaming, shoot, and he does, and it's just like, oh, well, what a finish. And you know what was weird is like, obviously both of those goals have been right in the Leazer's end. The same corner of the goal that he scored from. It's almost like that's his spot.
Yeah.
He's not done it in the Gallagher before. It's like that's his spot to score those outrageous goals. And he does the same celebration right in that corner in front of either the sort of a mix between the East Stand and the Leazers. Brilliant.
Love it. And you know what? Let's hear from the man himself. He's coming on with us. No, not really.
Hi guys, thanks for your support. Obviously a great start in the season, and stadium was electric, so thanks a lot, and see you soon.
He says he'll see you soon. That means he's coming on for me. But let's get into it again. And then you were going, let's bring it on. We get a few more goals now, and really put Forest under pressure. Forest did kind of mix it up a bit. They tried to go for it then after all the time wasting, actually. Yeah, cool. Cheers. That was good. Well, that was you, Chris, that sent in the message. Sorry.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, no. Then we got a second. Actually, some of the celebration pics as well, but from Wilson. And what I loved about this goal is it happened right in front of me. ASM with a bit of trickery, and it was there, so you could see Joe Linton running right in front of me, and I was there. Now is the time to play that ball, and he played it exactly then. I saw him claiming an assist, and then he crossed it in, and of course the lovely little delicate touch from Wilson, and looped over Henderson in the goal, and cue the celebrations, and take that, Mikel Antonio. He's away, and yeah, absolutely class. What did you think of that goal, lads? And yeah, for me, actually, before I go into, Wilson was a bit quiet in the game. He was managed well, but it just shows you that one little bit, and he can change the game. Go to you first.
I was going to say I'm just going to nip in here with Pete because Pete, we were speaking about this, weren't we? Well, I said it to you, and you said absolutely. Like that first half, especially Wilson was really quiet, but it just goes to show, doesn't it, that Callum Wilson is that kind of player. We will wait. When that opportunity comes up, 9 times out of 10 he will get that shot on target. And when you actually watch the replay back, I mean, Pete, I don't know whether I'm speaking for you here or not, but like I don't think we could fully appreciate how good the finish was. Certainly I couldn't anyway, because when I watched the replay on the train home, I was just like, wow, he's done great there. He's done really, really well. And that's the sign of a good striker, when you don't always get 4, 5, 6, 7 chances. All Callum Wilson needs is one chance, and he shows, with his finishing ability there, he shows that he can make the difference. I mean, not many strikers would have had such a quiet game and then get an opportunity, and all of a sudden, bang, goal. It's not like he'd missed 3, 4, 5, 6 chances before that because he just simply didn't have those chances. But a fantastic finish, and goes to show what we've said, about Callum Wilson and how important he can be this season as long as we keep him fit.
Exactly, Chris. Yeah, 100%. We need some kind of a backup for when he inevitably does miss some games. Pete, your thoughts on your boy Callum Wilson?
The boy, Mr. Number 9. I think you're right. He didn't have many touches in the first half. And I was I think, me and Chris had a conversation about it, and we were a bit like, he hasn't really been in the game. He hasn't really done much. But then I remembered afterwards, way after the game, I think it might have even been when I got home, and I thought, they were almost playing a back 3. And when you're being occupied by 3 centre backs, it's very hard to get in the game because they know what they need to do. And it was kind of like, okay, yeah, I get it, I understand it, but he still had moments even in the first half. He was, he had, I think we talked about it, the centre back Diakate, I think his name is, the new signing at the back. I thought he played really, really well. And he had a bit of a battle on, but quality strikers always have moments in the game. They create moments for themselves because they've got great movement, they've got an instinct for goal, and Callum Wilson proved that. He proved that he didn't need hundreds and hundreds of touches on the ball to be able to score a goal, and he got the goal. He got the all-important goal, and like Chris has said, it was a tremendous finish, a finish that only someone like Callum Wilson can do. Now, there's been a lot of questions, a lot of people saying, oh, he didn't mean it, it was a deflection, blah blah blah. If anybody's watched Callum Wilson, watched his runs, they know he meant that. It wasn't the first time he made that across the defender run to the near post. We can even go back to the Arsenal game, last home game of the season, where we ended up being an own goal, but he made that exact same run to the Joe Linton ball. It was like exactly the same again, but he makes those type of runs because he commits defenders. But he managed to get that fantastic touch on it, and it was tremendous finish by someone who's full of confidence right now and really, really desperate to prove his worth, not just for Newcastle, but for England as well.
Cool. And just a word of warning, this next clip contains nudity. So what's that?
I'm worried about this.
Here's Callum Wilson.
Hello guys, what a game it was today. Thank you for your support. 12th man when we needed it, and we're grateful for everything that you've given us at the start of this season, and onwards and upwards. 3 points, it ain't taken till December this year.
Yeah, it ain't taken till December, that's for sure.
I've got a question for you all, Lisa, by the way. I'll put it in the chat, and I'd like to ask you all, Lisa, an interesting question. He's just reminded me of it then, Callum Wilson.
Okay. We look forward to that, Chris. So let's get into the team, and I've got some stats on one of the players anyway. But let's go for your man of the match. There was a lot of outstanding performances, but Pete, I'll go to you first. Your thoughts on man of the match?
Where do you start? Geez, so many good performances across the pitch.
We can run through each of them if you want.
Do you know what I was going to say? Would it be worth? Because there's been a lot of controversy. I'm sure you'll all agree on social media over some people giving certain players ratings. So maybe as a collective we can all agree a rating, because there's, I think, was it Graham Bailey who's been on the channel recently, good friend of the channel, and he's took a lot of stick recently over his ratings. And to be fair to Graham, you know, there wasn't any like outstanding scores, but equally he didn't mark anybody incredibly low. So, you know, but it's interesting as us as a panel. You know, everyone's got their own opinions, haven't they? But maybe we could go through it as a collective if you want.
Yeah, sure. Let's go one more one. And Pete, we'll start with you. We'll go around the circle. Popey, what's your thoughts on Popey?
Popey, look, he didn't really have much to do, so it's not like you can give him 8s, 9s, and 10s because he didn't really have much to do. But what I liked about him is that he was dominating. He dominated his box. You know, if you're asking what the difference is between him and Dubravka, it's exactly that at the moment, this moment in time. So the way he came in and cleared whenever they played the ball over the top, he was there to clear it, either to find a man, collect it at the edge of his area, and start our play again or attacking play, or just clear it into row Z and allow us to get back and recover. Also, you know, and one or two, I think in the chat had alluded to that horrific corner routine in the first half. It was a really, really bad corner routine. But yeah, I think it was David Cook, actually. I put it up on here. What did you make of the Forest corner with no players in the box? We were just like, what the hell is going on here? But then what I liked about that is that they had all the men running into the box. It came into the box, but Pope was like, no, this is mine. He came out, bang, collected it, took all the pressure off our defenders who weren't expecting that routine. And then we were on the attack again. Loved it. So for me, I'd say steady 7.
Yeah, well, that's fair result. Chris, your thoughts on Popey?
Same as Pete. I'd give him a 7. I'm just gonna add a bit of context on that. It was dead funny. So like when the corner come in, I just remember, you know, when Popey claimed it, I just heard Pete go, "What the fuck was that?" Because all the Forest players, none of them were there, and then all of a sudden they all appeared, and Pope was just like, "Nah, you're all right." Did they have another corner after that? I don't think they did. Did they only have one corner?
Was that the one that Fullback won?
I think it might have been.
Yeah, I'm not sure after that.
Yeah, it was so. Oh, sorry, go on, Pete.
No, I was going to say they were never a far side of the pitch to even really get a corner, were they?
No. It was. Yeah, Forest didn't put Nick Pope under much pressure, but Nick Pope did everything that was asked of him. And as Pete said, he commanded his area well. I liked his throws, by the way. I thought his distribution, thrown-wise, was really good. Again, to quote Pete, there was a moment where Pope did a long throw. I think he did it out to, I think it was Trippier. And again, I just heard Pete going, right now, go. But it was nice because for once we looked like we were on the front foot. Whereas in some games, you know, not blaming Dubravka or Darlow too much. Oh,
cheers, Neil.
Neil. Thanks very much, mate.
Great to chat to Neil in the black and white bull as well. And he's thrown in the picture there as well. Great to chat. Because Neil DM'd me where you drinking. Loads of people actually DM'd me. When I sent the message about 5 minutes later, he was there, but I didn't actually go through the message, so I don't know how he knew we're all there. But it was great to meet him, and massive Tommy Tiernan fan as well. I remember that for our conversation, Neil. So yeah, you said 7 as well, Chris.
Yeah. 7. Yeah, I was just saying, like, you know, what I did like about Nick Pope was his distribution. I thought his distribution was really good, Daz, as in, you know, like, he was quick off the mark, he wasn't laboured, and that wasn't to have a go at Dubravka or Darlow in any particular way, but I just felt that Nick Pope was really, really quick. You know, he was actively looking to get us up that pitch as quickly as possible. So yeah, I think 7's probably a fair score for Pope. Didn't do anything wrong, but to be fair, he wasn't tested all that much either.
Yeah, for me, maybe I'll take 2 here and carry on again as things fall over in my house, the window open. So yeah, Popey, I agree, 7. Yeah, he didn't have much to do. I saw a picture of him with him sitting down with a cup of tea. Someone had out as well. So yeah, he didn't have much to do. But yeah, he'll retain the spot for the next game, you'd imagine. But unless something appears in training. Kieran Trippier, I thought he was solid. He didn't have an awful lot to do. It was lovely little balls he'd give to Miggy. That was a nice little partnership they have going there. But I think Trippier do that with anyone is playing in alongside him there. But yeah, he didn't have an awful lot to do. I'll give him a 7 as well for Trippier. And look, captain, I would love to have seen one of the free kicks go in, but what can you do? Right, Jules?
Yeah.
Your thoughts, Pete?
Yeah.
Trippier.
Trips. You know what? Trips was very, very good. Now, again, there are one or two people that maybe have questioned his performance at the weekend. I'm not sure why. I thought from an attacking point of view, he was very, very good. What I saw very much early on in this season, certainly from that game, is that his relationship with Miggy Almiron and what they expect from each other is very, very good. So, like, whenever Miggy, and we'll get onto Miggy in a second, was making those runs, Trippier knew exactly where to put the ball. What I loved about him, and I think Chris, I don't know if you remember me saying it, is that I said to Chris, it might have been partway into the second half, is that what I love about Kieran Trippier is that he organises everything. Like, he is the captain. And look, we've said everything about Lascelles and how we thought Trippier would be captain this season. He epitomises everything that a captain should do. And what I loved about Kieran Trippier, as well as his ability on the ball and his ability to link the play and get forward, we knew that he did that in abundance. That goes without saying, is that leadership made me think that he was brilliant. And there were like 5 or 6 points within the game in that, like, we might win a free kick, or we might win a throw-in, or we might have the ball at our feet, and it might have been Miggy trying to force the play and drive forward when we didn't need to, or we might have been trying to do a quick throw-in or a quick free kick, and he's going, no, this is where we hold. And it's like, right, we hold the game, we slow it down. This is what we're doing. He's orchestrating from right back. He's orchestrating around the pitch and telling people what they need to do. And they listen and they know what they need to do. And sometimes he's quickening it up. So, for example, when Schar scored that fantastic goal, I'm not looking at Schar. I'm looking at Schar's celebration, but then I'm looking at Trippier. And Trippier comes back to his position, and he almost grabs either Schar or Burn, one of them, and he goes, and he literally kind of pushes them into position. He's got, right, let's go. Let's go again. Yeah. Let's get another one. And he's saying it to everybody. And everyone's looking at him and everyone's going, right, we go again. And that's what we need. We need that someone that's got that influence, not just by shouting things, because he's actually a fucking good player. He's a good player and he knows his stuff. And he's up there on that level. And I love the way he kind of organised that over the course of the game. So for me, he didn't have moments within the goals, but for me, he was an 8.5 without a doubt.
That's 8.5. We're going to decimal as well. Chris, your thoughts on Trips?
Yeah, I mean, I think you all know how much I love Trippier. I think Trippier is a fantastic player. Funnily enough, I don't know whether it's just because I have such high standards for Kevin Trippier. I don't know, but I agree with Pete. When he was saying about him leading the team, and you can see that on the pitch. He's a fantastic leader. But I actually thought there was a couple of moments which I'm not used to seeing from Kevin Trippier. Where like he lost the ball, or he didn't quite make that. Didn't quite make an interception and stuff like that. But he's still an 8 out of 10. Do you know what I mean? He still had a really good game, and maybe you can put that down to the fact it was first game of the season and he's had a lot of minutes in pre-season. But yeah, massive fan of Kieran Trippier, and I think 8's probably fair for him this week. But yeah, really really pleased with him, and it was a good solid performance.
Nice one. Next up is Fabian Schar. I'm going to say 8.5 for Schar. Solid at the back. Got in and put the challenges in when he needed to, slow the game down with his when he needed to, calm, composed. His goal, unbelievable finish. 8.5 for me for Schar. Pete?
Have to agree. 8.5 for me. He got the all-important goal that effectively won the game. He started a little bit slow. There was a couple of misplaced passes in the first half. You're thinking, okay, he needs to be better in possession with that. But Trippier was very, very quick to go, sort it out. It needs to be better. And after that, he grew into the game, confidence, brought the ball out. Fantastic goal. We got a little bit of that. 3 points in the bag. 8.5, no problem.
Yeah,
Chris, your boy.
I'll have to go 8.5. Yeah, I mean, as Pete said, it wasn't his finest first half, but he more than made up for it in that second half, and that goal was just unbelievable. Some could say he had quite an easy afternoon, and I'm going to get when we go on to the next player, you'll know what I mean. But I think Fabian Schar had a good game. Again, you've got to give the lads a little bit of leeway as well, with it being the first game of the season. I know we've had loads of pre-season games and stuff like that, but you've got to ease your way into these Premier League games, and I think Fabian Schar did well. Albeit I don't think he had a lot to do, because I think predominantly it was coming from our left-hand side. But yeah, what a goal, what a goal, and I think 8.5 is fair.
Cool. Okay, next up is Big Dan Burn. For me, he was unreal, especially in the first half, getting those challenges in and putting it. Yeah. I'm going to give him an 8. Obviously, the differentiating factor between himself and Schar is Schar's goal, but Dan Burn, I'm giving him a solid 8.
I have to agree with you. Definitely an 8. I'll be honest, when I looked at the way Forest set up, I was a little bit worried, because I thought if Brennan Johnson ever gets in a one-on-one with him or breaks through it free, he's got the pace to really disrupt Dan Burn. It's the one thing he lacks, really, is that burst of pace, Dan Burn. And I remember me and Chris were at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and he got caught 3 or 4 times against Tottenham through having a lack of pace and players running in behind. He handled that absolutely outstandingly. He was fantastic. Got one-on-one with Brennan Johnson a couple of times, with Lingard 1 or 2 times, but he was there and he read the game really well, won the ball. His experience completely ran through throughout that game, and he just looked like a man mountain, exactly what it is, and he looked like unplayable. 8 for me. Like I say, they weren't really put under massive amounts of pressure because of how good we were, but when we did have moments, he made a couple of important blocks and a couple of stoppages on the break. Superb.
Excellent. Chris?
Yeah, so for me, I'm gonna disagree slightly, boys. For me, Dan Burn was my man of the match. I thought Dan Burn was absolutely superb, and the reason I say that as well is I'm probably factoring in, the pressure he must have been under. He knows the majority of that stadium were all expecting Sven Botman to start, and Dan Burn, like Pete said, there's been a couple of occasions where he's been done for pace, and I don't actually think it was one of Matty Targett's best games, but Dan Burn made up for that. I think it was 2 occasions. Matty Targett, he lunged for the ball, missed it, or misplaced pass or something like that, and Dan Burn was always there to clean it up. And bearing in mind, as Pete said, Brennan Johnson's probably one of Forest's shining lights, and Brennan Johnson didn't have a sniff. And the amount of times that Dan Burn went across to the left hand side to kind of cover Matty Targett and just cleaned up. I think there was occasion, Pete, in the second half, he did it like 3 times in a row. Just went over. Nothing fancy, just big headed out or big tackle, cleared the ball, back in position, and it just took that pressure off the back line, and mainly it took the pressure off Nick Pope. So for me, I thought Dan Burn was man of the match. There's some other outstanding performances at the weekends, but I was just really, really impressed with Dan Burn, and I just kept thinking to myself, you know what? He's probably thought before the game, I'm gonna be out here. It'll be Sven Botman, and knowing that Sven Botman is the player that we all want to see, the player that should be on the pitch, and he comes in and gives a performance like that. I thought Dan Burn was fantastic. So yeah, he's my man of the match, and I give him a 9.
Ooh, superb.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah,
Cool.
I think it's I think that's a fair assessment for sure. No doubt about it.
It's interesting
really
that a number of people have a different man of the matches as well. You see it on all of Twitter. That's always a sign of a good game. Sorry, Pete.
Just before we go on, John Burbeck, thank you for your 179 contribution. Not sure if we've seen you in the chat before, so welcome. Hit that subscribe button. Come and join us. Join the Loaded family on a regular basis. Keep an eye out for everything in the chat, and as well, Alan, sorry,
and that like button as well.
definitely. And Alan, thank you for your £10 contribution to the channel. He's put, all right, lads, nice to see you all in the ball before kickoff and the dog and parrot later, and hope you had a great day. We definitely did.
Thank you, Alan.
100%. And there is a little bit of breaking news.
Oh,
hang on.
Put it out there.
Where is it? Where is it?
I have to say it's not transfer related.
okay.
Exclusive from Craig Hope. John Joe Shelvey set to miss the first half of the season after undergoing hamstring surgery. Expected to be out for 12 weeks.
Wow.
Into early November. So John Joe Shelvey missing the first half of the season. That's big. And will it mean that we dip into the transfer market because he's not going to be available until effectively he's out until after the World Cup, so we won't see him now until possibly January. So a big bit of breaking news coming out in the last few minutes from Craig Hope, confirming that John Joe Shelvey is going to be missing until November with a hamstring injury. Just had surgery done, so it must have been a bad one.
Yeah, my information was totally wrong. So originally, when were the 1 or 2 days after the original injury, but yeah, I saw a comment coming through there as well from Johnny Greenwood as well. It's great to see the Newcastle Fans TV lads as well, Lee, Johnny, and Sam. And Lee is never going to forget now that I used the word soccer when I was talking about their game against the Magpie channel. But no, great to be done. There was a load with my Paul Toon review, and there's loads of obviously Adam Pearce as well, loads of YouTubers knocking around as well. So great to meet everyone, say hello face to face. So next up is Target, and I'll give my opinion first, and then I'll switch it. I'm going to go a different direction. I'm going to go you first, Chris. We go anti-clockwise. Target for me again. He's always Mr. 7, always solid. Never lets us down. Can't remember him putting a foot wrong in the game. 7 for me. Matty Target.
Yeah, very. Oh, sorry, go on, Chris.
Oh no, mate. No, I was
trying to confuse it.
No, I wouldn't say it was Matty Target's best game. But equally, it was still. Daz is absolutely right when he says, he is our steady Eddie. Even though Matty Target, I think there was one occasion that I remember particularly well where, he stuck a leg out, but it was a bit of a lazy leg. But it's very critical, to kind of knock points off him for that. But I don't think it was his best game, but I think he did the job he needed to do. And as I say, with the fantastic Dan Bain next to him, I thought, great. But yeah, I'd give Matty Target a 7. Didn't do anything drastically wrong, but yeah, I think it was a good, solid performance, is what I'd say.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would say, 7. What I want to see from him more so is making more overlapping runs for ASM. He did do it, and he created havoc because they didn't know whether to pick him up, whether to let him go, and the couple of moments he did get in off the back of that, but he just didn't do it enough for me. Now, whether that's because he's been told to be more defensive, because ASM is being told to be, we're kind of lopsided, is that ASM's been told to stay further forward and always create that angle wide to receive the ball so we can get a one-on-one with the fullback, which he did a number of times in the first half. Or whether it's just that he just doesn't make that run because he's worried about having to get back. I don't know what it is, but I'd like to see him make more of those runs forward because I think he's got a wand of a left foot. He's got a really good cross on him, but we just don't see it enough. And I think someone like Wilson could really benefit from an overlapping target, a little bit like what St. Maximin did for the goal, actually, in that he kind of feints the cut inside, plays it down that side for Matty Target to run onto. And then he can be whipping balls into the box for someone like Wilson to get on the end of. Just my sort of assessment from that, really. But yeah, steady 7.
Cool. What was I going to say? Yeah, we'll move on. Next up, Mr. 39, Bruno Guimaraes. Now, this man is my man of the match. Absolutely, everything goes through him. Okay, he's through balls didn't come to light. He did them, but nothing came from them really. But he's just overall play control and everything. I still don't know how we have him. But I'm delighted we do. So absolutely love Bruno. So he's my man of the match. Oh, I have to give him a rating. I'm going to give him. I'm going to give him a 9. If he got a goal or one of those balls pull off, it would have been a 10. But 9. I'm going to give him a 9, and he's my man of the match, Bruno. Pete, we'll go to you next.
where do I start with Bruno Guimaraes? And I don't know whether you want us to go on to, because I did say that I'd talk a little bit about Bruno tonight on one of my tweets, because he's been a talk of topic today, with the man that broke the news tonight about John Joe Shelby, Mr. Craig Hope. I think there's a number of people that have been slightly frustrated at his sort of assessment. He put a tweet out saying he didn't think Bruno Guimaraes hadn't played a very good game. He said apart from a couple of flicks, he wasn't at his best. He wasn't as penetrative, and I was quite surprised about it. I actually heard that last night. He did a video analysis of the game outside in St James's, and I listened to it last night. So I'd already heard it before, and even then last night when I heard it, I thought, nah, that wasn't it. And look, Bruno Guimaraes played pretty much the sitting role and dictated the play from midfield for a reason. John Joe Shelby wasn't there. Longstaff wasn't playing. Out of those three midfielders that started, he is the most defensive-minded out of the three. So he was always going to be the sitter. So you're not going to find him being as penetrative because he's not playing in the number 8 position like he had done in many a game over the course of the back end of last season. But what you found is that a player just absolutely controlled the midfield and ultimately controlled the game for the amount of minutes that he was on. I think I'm not sure if he got subbed off towards the end, but he controlled that game from start to finish whilst he was on that pitch. I've never seen a player dictate a game like that. Okay, some people talk about Yohan Cabaye. Yohan Cabaye did not dictate the game and control the game like Bruno Guimaraes did. And I just thought he was just unplayable. That's the word I would use. I think he was unplayable on Saturday. You couldn't get near him. You can't get near him anyway because he just controls and keeps the ball away from you so well. And it frustrates a lot of people. And when you do try and get close to him, you end up fouling him and giving away a free kick. He's so smart in the way he plays. But the way he linked with Miguel Almiron's playing some of the best football he's played for Newcastle United, albeit the final third not quite being there, is because of Bruno Guimaraes. Trippier was involved in everything. Willock, Joe Linton is playing the way he is right now because he's got Bruno Guimaraes next to him. He just brings so much to the table and makes so many other players better on the pitch because he controls the game. If you look at the goals, he might not be the one that assists or even gets the pass before that, but he always starts the move. He always starts the move. He always starts something off and starts his on the front foot and playing forward. And for me, that is a player of immense quality. Other than a couple of flicks, Craig Hope said, look, everyone's got their opinions. For me, those couple of flicks are 2% of what Bruno Guimaraes gave us on the pitch on Saturday. 2%. If you are someone that can look at that and just see a couple of flicks and think that's all he's done, then in my opinion, I'm watching football differently to you. I'm not saying your opinion's wrong, but I'm watching football differently to you because I watched the way he dictated the game and how Jack Colback and their other midfielders couldn't even get within 5 yards of him because he was that good. I think Chris alluded to the fact that Jack Colback got an early tackle on him in the early part of the first half, and after that, couldn't get near him again. Bruno Guimaraes, it was almost like, okay, I see you, Jack Colback.
You've had that one.
Yeah, you've had that one, but you're not doing it again. And he didn't. And he didn't allow, and he doesn't allow anyone to get close to him. You know what it reminds me of? Paul Scholes. Paul Scholes was one of the hardest midfielders to get hold of. And you speak to anybody, even the likes of Zidane, players of that ilk, talk about Paul Scholes on the level. Why? And they all say the same. Can't get near him. Can't get near him. If you do, you can see the free kick. He reminds me, when he's on the ball, of Paul Scholes and the way he dictates the play. You go back and watch the way Paul Scholes played for Manchester United. He plays in a very similar way, and that's why he was so good. And for me, Bruno Guimaraes, at 24 years old, is on that level. So why people didn't think he had a good game, it doesn't, I don't get it. I don't understand it. I just don't. So for me, Bruno Guimaraes, easily a 9 for me. Easily a 9. I could give him a 10 if he'd have scored a goal and got a couple of assists. I'd have given him a 10. Easily a 9 for me, without doubt. I don't know what you guys think.
If you saw match today, I think Schar covered it as well. You can see the intelligence of him, as well as having the natural abilities, the intelligence that he look here, he look there, even before the ball has come to him, or even as the ball has come to him, he's looking. He knows everything around, and he knows where to play it before even the ball even comes to him. It's just amazing what he can do. Chris, your thoughts on him, and why did you not give him man of the match?
Do you know what? I know. Do you know what? I struggled to follow what Pete just said there, because I completely agree with everything he said. Bruno, by the way, just in case anyone's worried, Bruno was my number 2 for man of the match. He was a close second, and I do have someone who came close third. But I thought Bruno Gomes was outstanding. Oh, thanks, Ian. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Ian.
I thought Bruno Gomes was outstanding at the weekend, and like as Pete said, sometimes some of the stuff that he does may go unnoticed. Maybe it's 2 or 3 passes before. I mean, we saw a couple of through balls that he did. I think it was for the chance where Miggy hit it, right on the byline, and the keeper saved it, and it hit the post. That through ball was unbelievable. Like, it cut out about 5 players, and that's what Bruno Gomes brings. And the fact that we've got Bruno and Joe, I think he's bringing, someone in the chat said it, it's absolutely right, he's bringing out the best in Joe as well, because Joe Linton is tidying up, and I think it's like, right, give it to Bruno. And Bruno will receive, you see him shouting for the ball, he received the ball at any angle, like, no matter who's round him, he'll just be like, give me the ball, it takes the pressure off. And then sometimes he only plays like a simple 4, 5, 6 yard pass, but he makes it look easy, but it's not easy. And he gets the team moving. And you can tell that him kind of being diagonally in front of Kieran Trippier, you can tell how much Kieran Trippier trusts him. Kieran Trippier will play him the ball no matter who's around him. And that's because he knows that Bruno is just class. Bruno can take the pressure off him, and other players rely on Bruno. And the fact that he's only been here just over 6 months, and already, the team is looking at him as like the get out. He's the go-to player. He's the player that everyone looks to and thinks, oh, give it to Bruno, it'll be safe, kind of thing. And I thought Bruno was excellent. So yeah, I totally agree with the 9. I think Bruno was a 9.
Oh, 9.6. So he's same as Burn for your 9, but Burn just
but Burn just pipped it. But yeah, I do think he was a 9 out of 10. I thought he was.
And are we rating Craig up? Even though we love Craig and we love the work he does and his videos as well, and I love it. But no, we won't.
No. I mean, like I say, everyone's got opinions, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly, and that's what it's all about. And that's fair enough.
That was the one thing I was gonna add, is that it's not, obviously there was a few people that are kind of like having a go at Craig and calling him and this, that, and the other. It's not what it's about. It's I don't agree with what you said, but equally, and we've said it before, that everyone's entitled to their opinion. 100%. But Craig is a fantastic journalist in what he does. He breaks news just like he did about John Joe Shelby tonight. He knows his stuff. On all things Newcastle United transfers and news. He is very, very good at what he does. But obviously, just on this occasion, I think a lot of people disagree with him, because a lot of people within the media and a lot of people that were at the stadium and watched the game could see how good he was and how he influenced the game. But it is what it is.
It's one of those things. Well said though, Pete, on that. Next up is Joe Willock. I'm going to give Joe Willock 7. 7. I'm going to say 7 for Joe Willock. First, he was doing well in the first half. I know someone said to me at halftime that he was shocking, but I didn't think that. No, I'm going to give him a 7. And I guess, I suppose with Joey Willock as well, it seems to be a position that Newcastle are looking, if the whole Madison talk or whoever else we look at, is that the position that would be up for grabs, and have Joey Willock then coming off the bench. But I'm going to give him a 7.
For me, Joe Willock gets an 8.5, and I'll tell you why. I was massively impressed with Joe Willock on Saturday. Now, anyone that spoke to me before the game, the one thing that I said is that I thought Joe Willock would start the game, but I actually thought that Sean Longstaff deserved to start. This is obviously my opinion before the game, and it came true. And Joe Willock started the game, and I was interested to see how he was going to perform. And I tell you what, I was hugely impressed by him. Now, yes, he didn't score. Yes, he didn't assist. But I tell you what, he produced one of the top box-to-box performances from a midfielder that I've seen in a long while. That lad covered every blade of grass on Saturday. And, you know, we talk about Miguel Almiron, and we'll come on to him in a second. But Joe Willock, the pressure, the presses, the work off the ball that he did to allow the likes of Bruno and other players to produce their football. It was all of the unsung stuff that he did on Saturday, which I really liked. I remember saying to Chris, he'd ran down the left hand side and created an opportunity, and the move broke down. And Henderson got the ball and played it straight out to our right hand side, and Miggy wasn't there, and their man, who was the left wing back, had literally 20-25 yards of open space to run into. Before Henderson had even thrown that ball, he had already made a 50-yard dash to create the opportunity and made another 40-yard dash without even thinking to go and close that man down. And before the player received the ball at his feet and even was able to take a touch, Willock was there. Bang. Stop that attack from happening. Stop the potential opportunity. It was selfless the way he worked off the ball for Newcastle United. And you know what? He had a couple of moments. There was one moment where a ball was clipped into him and he did a little flick off his chest to create the opportunity. Just a little flick off the chest, just in one motion. That's not easy to do. And he did it. And yes, the chance didn't come to anything. I just think he just clipped it over the bar. But he had a couple of moments where the ball at his feet, he was doing twisting and turning. Players didn't know where he was going to go. And I saw something different to Joe Willock. I saw a hunger in his eyes to really prove himself. You know, we've talked about it, I'm sure we will, of a potential another number 8 coming in. And new players coming in to potentially take that position, because we've all said Bruno and Joe Linton are a given. Yeah. He went out and proved today that actually he wants that position. He wants to make it his own. And I just thought that work, that pressure, that work off the ball, the grit, determination was just top notch. 8.5, brilliant.
8.5.
Chris, your thoughts on Joey Willock?
Yeah, I think Joe Willock was. At least said Joe Willock then. I think Joe Willock's probably gone a bit unsung there. I mean, Pete absolutely spot on with his analysis. Joe Willock was all over the pitch on Saturday, and despite when you look at the stats or when you look at what he's done in terms of like assists, goals, all those stats that always get looked at, Joe Willock was everywhere. There was a particular moment, I think it was the one Pete's just mentioned, where he literally sprinted from one side of the pitch to the other, and he cut that ball out and it went out for a throw-in, and it just allowed the rest of the team to kind of take a step back and go, right, let's get into position. And it's little things like that that make all the difference. And I'm sure Eddie Howe was been absolutely delighted with that performance, because Joe Willock was everywhere. There'll be other opportunities, for him to get up the pitch and make big chances happen in terms of at the other end of the pitch. But in terms of the job that he did for the team, I thought he was great. And long may that continue. If he carries on like that, no matter who we get, we'll struggle to get in the team, because to be fair, he did a really, really good job for the team as a whole, and that allowed the likes of Bruno, to kind of get on doing with what he does best.
Cool. No, that's fair enough. Cool. We will move on from Joey Willock and we'll go to Joe Linton. For me, Joe Linton, I'm giving him an 8, a solid performance, getting the foot in where he needed to. I think someone put it in the chat there as well. There was that chance where if he had finished it, unbelievable how a goal that would have been. But yeah, Joe Linton for me was solid. Great to see him playing live as well. 8.
Have to agree. 8 for me for Joe Linton. Oh, if it had scored that goal, it would have been 10 for him if it had scored that goal. Joe Linton, that run is exactly what Joe Linton should be doing every single game. I want to see that run at least once or twice in a game, because when he's that powerful and he's running with so much purpose like that, nobody wants anything to do with him. He is so he's just such a big, powerful player. And, you know, actually he's got a tremendous strike on the ball. What you want him is not to try and just side foot the ball into the bottom corner. I want him to rifle it. Just power, pure brute and power. Just put your foot behind it and hit the target, make the keeper work. And I tell you what, if he'd have just smashed it, he'd have probably scored that. Really, really unlucky. But all the other bits that you've mentioned, that's absolutely right. Pressed well, used the ball well, cut up and stop play from Forest at any point in the game. Just really looked the part. And looked like he's continued this season how he ended the last.
Nice. Chris, Big Joe.
I'd probably give Big Joe an 8.5. Like I say, he was third in my list of players, and I love this new Joe Linton that we're seeing. I think I've said this before on a previous show. Like, there's very few players who you see with the ball carrying it who travel as well as Joe Linton. Like, you know, when you see people trying to get the ball off him, you just can't. He's just like a man mountain. Not only does he travel with the ball pretty quickly, but he's strong. And then, you know, he'll turn and he'll hold the player off, and then he'll you know, pass the ball. He'll give it to somebody else. It's very rare that Joe loses possession. And what I love about him as well is he never gives up. He constantly battles for the team. And again, a bit like Joe Willock, he put in a real big battling performance. It was funny because when he went on that mazy run, and then we were expecting the finish and it didn't come, like, part of me was a bit like, should have really seen that coming. Do you know what I mean? Because Joe, that if there's one element of his game Joe needs to work on, it probably is his finishing. You know, when he gets in that final third. Yeah. But not taking anything away from his performance, I thought he was outstanding. And every time I see Joe Linton now in the middle of the park, I'm always pleased. And I think I forget which game it was, but there was a game where Joe Linton was missing, and we just didn't look the same. And I think that having Joe Linton now in the central midfield is a must. And I hate to worry you, Daz, but if I was the Brazil manager, I would be all over him, because I do. I think going into the World Cup, mate, I think Joe Linton, in the centre of the park, doing the job that he does for us, for Brazil, I think he'd be fantastic.
Cool. And also he has to get into the squad. They have to win the World Cup, and he has to be either top goal scorer or player of the tournament. Just remember those clauses. So he's a bit to do yet. We'll keep doing it.
He's not going to be top goal scorer, I'll tell you that.
No, I know that. That's clause number one. That's why I gave it player of the tournament as well. But yeah, let's get on to the next player. Maybe we'll go you Chris, and we'll twist it around again. And I'll give my opinion first. It's Miggy. For me, I'm going to give Miggy a 7. You know my opinions on Miggy. Before the end of the season, last season, I was getting rid of Miggy. Then he went on a run and did really well. And over the preseason, he was unreal. Played really well, and I still want to keep him. I think he deserves his place in the squad now. I would like to have someone that can maybe to take over that role as well, or he can come on and contribute as part of the squad. But he's solid. Again, I saw it live this time. I think there was a shot that he had at one point. If that had gone in, he would have been up there the ratings for me as well. But I'm gonna give him a 7. I know I'm not as, I only give them out when necessary on the higher score. So Miggy, more to do. I challenged you before. Next time. Chris.
I feel harsh giving Miggy a 7, but I think 7's probably about right, Daz. Like, don't get me wrong, Miggy's best attributes we did see at the weekend, you know, constantly running tirelessly, working hard for the team. And to be fair to him, he was a little bit unlucky on a couple of occasions, especially in the first half. He did some really good runs down the channel, and it just didn't quite pay off for him. I thought he did well with that snapshot, which obviously Henderson saved onto the post, and it went out. I don't want to go too much into Miggy because I don't want to start criticising him, but I thought Miggy played pretty well. Obviously there is room for improvement, and I would like to see him be a little bit more clinical. There was a particular moment in the first half. I think me and Pete had our head in our hands. There was a moment where he got to the byline and he cut it back, and if he just stuck his head up and looked and actually directed where he was putting it to, it probably would have been 1-0. But he just kind of hit it, and then it went straight to a Forest defender who cleared it. So a little bit of frustration there, but again, I don't want to knock Miggy because I thought he played pretty well, to be fair to him. So yeah, I'll stick with 7, but definitely should start next game.
Yeah, unless we bring someone else in.
Yeah.
Pete, your thoughts on Miggy?
I thought Miggy was tremendous. I thought he was tremendous. The one thing I noticed about Miggy is that for the first time since Rafa Benitez, Miggy Almiron actually has a role to play in this football team. Now, a lot of people have said on social media various other things when Miggy's name gets brought up, the word headless chicken always gets thrown out there. Headless chicken just runs in any direction with no real purpose. On Saturday, for the first time since Rafa Benitez, he had a purpose. He had a purpose in the game. He was the man to press high, to create problems for them going forward. He was the one to make runs in and behind. Normally, you see the frontline striker, Callum Wilson, making those runs in and behind. Miggy Almiron was doing that. And Bruno, as Chris quite rightly said, put 2 or 3 fantastic balls, like cutting through a butter with a knife, through to Miggy Almiron. Trippier over the top down that right-hand side. Bending around, like you said, that's absolutely right, onto those runs. And there was a clear strategy to get Miggy Almiron into the game. I've not seen that before. And, he was prominent. If I'm honest, everything came down his right-hand side in the first half, pretty much. Unless we were switching the play to then isolate their right back or right wing back to create a one-on-one moment with ASM, everything went down his right-hand side. Yes, the productivity, yes, the final third wasn't there in terms of him finding the right pass or getting the goal wasn't there. But look, it's the first game of the season. If he keeps playing like that, he'll have moments where he can score. All we need to do is look at what he did against Benfica. Making those moments. If he can create those moments to put those balls in the net, I think he will, and I think he'll do well. But yeah, really good performance. I'd say it was an 8 for me. In terms of his performance and what he gave to the team, I'd say definitely deserves an 8, 100%.
Cool. Cheers, Pete. Next up is ASM, our number 10. ASM. For me, ASM had a great game. He was seemed to be back to what he does. There was no moaning, no sitting down complaining, throw his arms up in the air. He saw a lot of the ball, a lot of one-on-ones, and if something had came off, he would have been up there potentially challenging for well, he wouldn't have been taking Bruno's slot. But if he scored a goal or two, he definitely would have taken it then. But he solid game. Love the little bit of pass, as I mentioned earlier, with the pass to Joe Linton cross in for the Wilson goal. And I'm giving ASM a 8.25.
8.25.
8.25.
Love it. Alan St-Maximin, I'd say 8.5. I thought it was very, very good. Very good. What we are seeing from Alan St-Maximin is now not just his moments of magic where he runs at players and commits plays, which he did on a number of occasions. You're seeing now Alan St-Maximin making the right decisions at the right time and not just being a one-trick pony in terms of running forward, cutting it onto his right and shooting, which is what we saw for 2 years previous. What we're seeing now is a more thoughtful, considered Alan St-Maximin performance. You only have to look at the Callum Wilson goal as that prime example, is that he cuts in on his right, he plays in Joe Linton. Might seem like a simple pass, but for Alan St-Maximin, it wouldn't always be that simple pass that would create a moment. He would have quite easily cut in on his right and shot, and it come to nothing. He's making the right decisions at the right time. What it does mean, though, is that he won't have those moments of magic where he just goes on these mazy runs and takes everyone on and shoots. And the things that we enjoyed, we might not see as often now because he's becoming more of a team player, which is what his fans in general have asked for, is for him to be more of a team player. You saw him running back and supporting target and running back and covering ground to support when Forest were making attacks. What you're doing is seeing him out wide, isolating his fullback or the wing back and creating moments. He just needs to improve in front of goal. He just needs to be more considered with his shooting. that's the only thing that maybe lets him down in the game today. But I think, sorry, on the game on Saturday. But for me, I think ASM was very, very good in terms of his overall performance. And look, Forest couldn't live with him. Nico Williams from Liverpool made his debut on Saturday, and for me, that was a debut for him to forget, because
he got a card as well early, didn't he?
He did, and he got rinsed time and time again from ASM. He really gave him a baptism of fire to the Premier League. And look, more will come with ASM. The goals and assists will come. There is no way that we don't see him improve this season as the games go on.
Cool. Well, great, and it's great to see, and delighted. As we said like months ago, we're giving him this season to prove himself, and he started well. So long may it continue. Chris, ASM for you.
Yeah, I thought I'd give ASM an 8 for me. I thought he had good moments in the game. The only two things I'd say which I'd like to see going forward. I mean, we saw, didn't we, the right centre half and the right back, Nico Williams, both get carded quite early, and I just wanted ASM to kind of, like put them under a bit more pressure. And to be fair to him, he ran his absolute socks off on the weekend. I think the only thing I would say as well for maybe, but this isn't ASM's fault, I think maybe it would have been better for him to be subbed maybe on the 70 minute. He looked like he was done at that point. I wish that he'd been subbed earlier, because he looked tired to me. But he put in a hell of a shift. And let's be honest, lads, we don't look the same without ASM in the team. I know he's got his faults, and I know that he frustrates people, but he's always got that moment of brilliance in him. But as Pete rightly said, he's starting to look like more of a team player. He's starting to look like he's there to do a job rather than just getting the ball and just doing, going off and doing what he wants. It all seems quite tactical now. It all seems like there's a purpose there. And once that clicks, once that really, really clicks, and, we see ASM, hitting a run of form, maybe getting up to that full fitness, I think he could be unstoppable. So long may that continue, and let's hope he doesn't pick up any injuries.
Exactly.
There's that one comment down there from Uggy. Wilson seems to be very frustrated with ASM not passing when he should have. Could that be a problem if it continues? There was one moment that I did see.
It was that one, wasn't it? Was it the one in the second half, Pete? The one
just before the goal.
Yeah, where he shot directly at the keeper, and Wilson screaming for it, going, "Give me it, give me it."
Yeah. So he was played in. I think it might have even been Bruno that played him in the ball. Just slipped him in nicely, and he's coming in at an angle, ASM. And, ultimately, that's ASM's position, coming at an angle. He wanted to bend it into the far corner. But what you don't see straight away until after he's hit the ball is that Wilson's there for a little side pass that's tapping it into an empty net, and he just goes mad. He's like, no. But then luckily, 20 seconds later, Schar's smashing it into the top corner. So it kind of just eases that situation. But again, it's that moment. But to be fair, I did watch it back, and ASM, as soon as it happens, he almost acknowledges to Wilson as if to say, like, my bad, like I should have passed it to you. So as long as he sees that and he makes sure that doesn't happen again, and he's maybe more considerate in that situation, because he is desperate to score. He wants to score and be that main man that gets the goal. Yeah. He does want to be that, but so does Wilson. So maybe that's the fighting for that moment is probably something we maybe come to expect, a little bit like Salah and Mane.
Yeah, you just mentioned about the main man. I just see in the fans' videos or Adam Pearson's videos as well that when he's coming in and signing autographs, coming in the stadium, and there's like ASM, then Bruno rocks up, Bruno, everyone goes mad. So is he like, does he want to be that main man? Hopefully, good luck trying to oust to Bruno from the top slot there.
He never says anything good about ASM, Darren, does it? So the fact that he's giving him an 8, let's make sure we take a picture. Let's take a picture of that, and hopefully more 8s to come, Darren.
I saw a comment there from Dougie Morris as well in the chat. Dougie was shouting over to me at halftime from a lower level down to me, and there was this guy shouting at me. I go, is he talking to me? What? And I don't want to go over and be a right tool if he's not actually talking to me. So after about a minute, I figured out it was me. So we had a little chat. So lovely to meet you, Dougie, as well. So let's get on to the last man. Callum Wilson. So Callum Wilson for me, and I take Pete's points on board about the three centre backs and them doing a job on him. And of course, then he meant he was quiet, but and then when it was needed, he stepped up and killed the game off with that goal, and that put any doubt out of minds that the Forest might potentially sneak a draw at the end. But for me, Callum Wilson, I'm going to give him a 7.75 because the reason why he's our number 9. We're playing Forest, so I would potentially expect a few more goals. But no, look at 7.75 for me.
Yeah, look, just before 7 point what?
7.75. It's got up a
Jesus
half.
Christ, you've got to new levels, Daz, tonight. But look, I have to just switch tack slightly for a second because George Hayes just a fantastic contribution tonight.
Oh, George.
Cheers,
George.
Look, spot on, George. So many others in the chat, Lisa, Jordy Mick, one or two others. Dot by Design have obviously commented, Simon as well, to say, just a fantastic contribution. You are such a huge contributor to the channel. You don't understand, George. Your contributions mean the world to us. And having shows like this and, new vids like what Daz has put on and various other things, it means that we can continue doing that and create new content for the channel. It's amazing. And he's put, got to the Benfica and home games, first time in 10 years, hopefully make a league game after the World Cup break. You know what, George? Hopefully you get to, and if you do manage to get tickets for a home game, let us know, because I'd love to be there, and I'm sure the boys would love to be there.
Oh, yeah,
to
definitely.
meet me, just to say face-to-face, massive thank you from everyone at Loaded Mag NUFC. So absolutely top man. Thank you for that.
Well said, Pete. And of course, just a reminder to anybody, we are all fully loaded. We're only 80% loaded for the first game. We were 100% loaded for the Southampton game in April because we've got our tickets already in hospitality. But we will be around about, so that might be a good time to get us all if you're looking at that. I know it's a bit far away yet, but keep it in mind.
Definitely.
Was it Pete? Was it you for Callum Wilson?
Yeah, Callum Wilson. Look, he scored a worldy goal. I can't not give him an 8 for that. But he didn't have many moments in the game. When you're not getting the rub of the green and you're not getting the ball all the time, it can frustrate players, and it can actually turn players into playing really bad, and they switch off. He never switches off. He's always looking for the ball, always looking to create moments. And I just thought that Callum Wilson, that hunger and that desperation to score those goals really came through. And I think that's the reason why he got there and he got to that goal. I just thought he was really, really good. And I think that goal is going to give him doing the world of good in the games to come, because I think he's already talked about he's got a target. I think Callum Wilson is possibly targeting between 8 and 10 goals before we break up for the World Cup. That's my opinion. I think that's what he's targeting, because I think as long as he stays fit, I think he feels that he's got a goal in him every single game that he plays. So fingers crossed we see that from him. But yeah, difficult game, not an ideal game for him, but still managed to get on the score sheet. Top stuff.
He could play his way into the World Cup squad as well if he's still fit.
Like,
is it something we want though? Danger? Did he get injured there? But yeah,
absolute clockwork, Daz. Because I was going to come to this point afterwards. Dot by Design says, if fit, Wilson has to go to the World Cup. Besides Kane, there was only Dominic Calvert-Lewin who is now injured. Wilson is better, and you know what? You could throw Ollie Watkins into there and many other strikers. For me, Callum Wilson's the man. Callum Wilson's better than any other English striker in the Premier League that's playing in the Premier League at this moment in time, other than Harry Kane. Maybe you could say Tammy Abrahams, who's at Roma at the moment, as an alternative. But for me, I'd be taking all three of them and saying they're my pool of strikers that I'll play.
Cool. Chris, our number 9.
Our number 9. I'm going to give our number 9 a number 7. Sounds harsh, but I'm gonna give him a 7. But I would like to say I'd give him a 9 for the finish, because the finish itself was absolute, world class. It was a fantastic finish. And if anybody else, probably sound like I'm moaning now, if anybody else had scored that goal, they'd have all been waxing lyrical about it, because when you actually see that replay, it's the fact that he gets in ahead. Pete, that was that Diakate that you were mentioning, the number 19, who's had a really, really good game. He nips in ahead of him, and it's the way that he scoops his foot up to allow the ball to loop. I think Tony Cascadino was talking about it on TalkSport today, saying how much of a fantastic finish it was, and it absolutely was. So I feel a bit harsh giving Callum Wilson a 7, and I know that he worked his socks off. And somebody in the comments wrote it and said that he'd ran the channels really well. He didn't give up. He was constantly, harassing those centre backs, and I do think that he did that. So maybe people think I'm being a bit harsh giving him a 7, but I don't know. It's first game of the season, but all I will say is it's promising signs, because Callum Wilson had one real meaty chance and he didn't half put it away really well. So I'm not saying Callum Wilson had a bad game. I just think I've seen better from him, but that finish was absolutely sublime. So yeah, 7 for me overall, but 9 for the finish.
Couple of questions or a couple of comments from Driver 8. England should keep their hands off Wilson. Mid-season break might help him. You're not wrong. Yano doesn't think he's going to go to the World Cup at all because of his injury record. But look, Yano, if he proves himself to be fit and stays fit between now and World Cup. I think there's a couple of friendlies coming up soon. He could well find himself back into the mix. And be under consideration. If Newcastle keep playing well, the fact that Pope and Trippier play for Newcastle, the England coach Southgate's going to be watching them a lot closely. And if Wilson keeps scoring, I think he's well in the conversation. Southgate's always said he rates Callum Wilson, and I think it's because of his injury record that he's not made the team. I think you're right, Yano, but I think the more he shows his fitness this season, the more he is likely to make the squad. That's just my opinion. But just really quickly, 300 in the chat. We've had way over 300 in the chat during the show. Get those thumbs up. Click that thumbs up if you haven't already. It makes a massive difference to the channel. You can see that's put on the screen. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Make sure that you join the chat and you click that thumbs up button. It makes a massive difference to the channel. Please ensure that happens. It means that more people can see the fantastic comments that you've put in the chat, and also our content that we put out on a daily basis. And just finish with that with Funda from Mole, 8.99. Thank you for that. Good for Pete's Vicar top. The away, the third kit, or the second kit, the away kit. The Vicar top. That definitely went down well. I love that kit. To be fair, that's one of my favourite away kits. So I'm glad that
it's lovely. It's a lovely top, isn't it? It is. Yeah. It's a nice top.
Just one thing I wanted to mention. We've done the ratings now. We said, I think we said 2 Brunos and a Dan Burn for man of the match, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, while Pete, you're probably looking to see if there's any other questions to bring up. While you guys got to meet Peter Beardsley, and I'm totally jealous that you got to meet him. While you all went home, guess who I met? And I didn't put this on Twitter. I said I'll keep it to show on here. I met, I'm not going to say Pete Graves, Keith Downey. So, great to bump into Keith Downey as I was doing a little walk after the game and checking out a bit of the sites. But great to meet Keith. And Keith, he assured me he's going to come back on with us. So yes. It's going to happen. It's going to happen now, Keith. You promised. But that was who I met. We go to questions, sir.
Yeah, got a number of questions to come to. A2, thank you for your €4.99 contribution. Ask the question, and look, we'll ask the question now because we've got a number of questions. Surely we have to move on. Paqueta, now that Shelvey is cropped, he can play in midfield 3 all day long. Boys, what are your thoughts about that? Thank you, A2, for putting that question in.
Would love it. Would love if we did go for him. He was the one I wanted from the start of the season. I know this is the talk of the Bruno's mate, but he's such a class player in his own right. He's a Brazil international, a regular in the team. Played really well for Leon. He needs to challenge himself. He wants to move on. Why not? Well, rock up. I did hear on some other podcasts the potential that obviously Arsenal No, but Man City as well potentially looking at him, and I was like, oh no. But yeah, I'd love to see Lucas Paqueta rock up with us.
Chris?
Yeah, no, it's the same as Daz. I think Lucas Paqueta would be the missing piece of the jigsaw. I mean, him or James Maddison. I think them occupying that number 8 role, which at the moment I'd say probably Joe Willock's got, so the right side of our central midfield. I think if you brought in Paqueta or you brought in James Maddison, someone of that ilk, I think they'd be fantastic. Whether or not Eddie Howe would like to change it up, I don't know. Obviously, some people would argue that they play better in a bit more of an advanced role, like a number 10 role. I don't know. What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at the smile on Pete's face as soon as I did this.
Yeah. Pete's all in on Maddison, isn't he?
I'm sorry, guys. I said to the Loaded Boys on the chat earlier, I'm hooked on Maddison now. You know what? It's almost like you know when you get tempted with something and you kind of just follow it like a piece of chocolate or a smell of food. You're like, oh yeah, that smells great. Normally it's me with the brandy, but I'm all in. I'm all in on Maddison now. Now I realise that we've looked at him and we've had 2 bids rejected. Look, I just think he'd be perfect. I think he'd be perfect for this team. He would break the gap between sort of Newcastle finishing 10th, 9th into 8th, 7th, 6th for me. If we got him in, he'd make the difference. I really do. But
I thought it was interesting, Pete. I think I said it in the chat. I thought it was interesting how Leicester were being very defiant, weren't they, at the weekends? You know, basically going, we're starting Fofana, we're starting Maddison, we're starting Tielemans. It was as if to say, you know, if you want them, come and pay the money. Because you do see sometimes that they leave players out, don't they? And as if a rumours, they might be moving. We don't want them to get injured, but Leicester kind of looked at it the other way on. I mean, as a throwback to you all, do you think the Maddison deal's dead, or do you think we will go back in with a 3rd offer?
This could sway it slightly, but I think it. I think it is.
I don't think it is. I think if we're bidding for 2 players, if we're putting 2 bids in for a player, it means that they're a player that we're looking at. I don't think it will be dead, but that 3rd bid could come in at any time, and it could be at a time where Leicester go, you know what, we're ready to do a deal now. And then we put in the 3rd bid because we know it's going to be accepted. It could also be that we're negotiating what Leicester want and maybe coming to an agreement that when the 3rd bid goes in, we know it's going to be accepted. So I thought a 3rd bid would come in because I thought we'd try and move this on quickly, but maybe Newcastle are taking a step back and reevaluating before then they go in again with a more measured approach. So let's see. Johnny Paul mentioned before, just joined the stream. Welcome to the stream. Sesko to Leipzig. Sorry if it was mentioned already. It hadn't been mentioned already, but obviously Sesko won't be joining Newcastle United. He will be most likely going to Leipzig in 2023 at the end of this season, which then begs the question, who is that person that comes in as a striker? I know we'll be talking about that on the Fully Loaded Transfer Show this week with ourselves and Jordan Cronin. But what are your thoughts, boys?
I'll jump in first. So this talk today, and I don't know how true it is about this guy, and I know nothing about him. I know Richie put a whole lot of stats in our chat as well. We'll probably cover him on the Fully Loaded Transfer. Raul de Thomas. Never seen him play. Haven't watched any YouTube clips yet. But there was talk of him, or has it been ruled out already? It was earlier in the day I saw that. And then I know, okay, it's not a striker, but there's talk that again of Anthony Gordon as well has resurfaced. But who do I want? I don't know. I just let them decide at this stage. All I want is Lucas Paqueta or Maddison or whoever. I just bring in someone just to give us a bit of strength and depth, and away we go. Continue on. E-I-E-A-I-E-I-O. Up the Premier League we go.
That's the one.
But your thoughts, Chris? Who you bring in?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, like I was kind of hoping that we go back in for Sesko. I think it's really interesting, by the way, that isn't the deal with Leipzig something like 24, 26 million, and then they loan him back. Like, that would have been all right, wouldn't it? I mean, as fans, would you have been happy getting Sesko, knowing that we're not going to get him until the following season? Do you think some fans would have accepted that, or do you think there would have been a bit of anger going, well, we need a striker right now? But if that was to happen, lads, would you have been happy with that? Would you have gone, okay, well, at least we know next summer we're getting him, or would you have still wanted to see someone come in?
I would get someone on loan and bring him in the next summer.
Yeah, I want players here and now. I don't think we're at the stage where we can buy a player and say, yeah, we'll get you next season. I think we need players in now. We still need to build the squad. So I think that's probably why maybe Newcastle walked away from the deal for that reason, is that they're looking at players to come in now and to be
very cheap though, Pete. Very cheap.
But you got to remember, there's a Premier League tax and there's a Bundesliga tax, and they're very, very different because of the income that all those teams generate. You know, it was rumored that they gave Man U a 45 million euro transfer fee, or that was the fee that they needed to pay to get him, whereas he's gone for what, 24 million euros to Leipzig. There's a huge difference in that, and it's because of the amount of money that each team generates. The Leipzig generate far less than the Man United do in their respective leagues, and I think that does come into play when players do move, and how much the clubs charge for that reason. So it's an interesting one, but I think Leipzig are the only ones to say, yep, we'll pay the money, but we'll get him next year. And I think that's why he's gone to Leipzig rather than one of the other clubs in England, in my opinion. Just a couple more before we end the show. Trippier, the Prime Minister, said, warning next time, please, lads. My lass was watching when Schar came on the screen and now she's pregnant. I apologise and congratulations. So, yeah, a bit of a double whammy there. Geordie 2 for Life says, Door was at the and his Forest mates on his show were nothing but complimentary about their visit to Newcastle, saying so friendly in the pubs before and after the game. One of them said they thought it was quiet. Interesting.
Dor is in the chat, by the way, Pete.
Hey, Dor.
Dor is here. Welcome, Dor.
Glad he's in the chat. I've been looking at the questions, so I didn't manage to catch him. Yeah, had a great weekend, Simon, and you Newcastle fans gave us a very good welcome. Dor, good till I didn't get a chance to catch you. Thank you for messaging me. We were at the talking, and then by the time we got over and met Peter Beardsley and got into the ground, it was right near kickoff. So I do apologise for not meeting you, but great to have you on away days. Fantastic, always supporting the channel and popping in since obviously we've linked up. So please continue to do that, and we'll do the same for your channel as well, and give each other a push. So yeah, brilliant stuff. And as to be expected with Newcastle fans and people giving them, really nice sort of treatment. Last couple. Ray said about even though we dominated Forest, I still think it's quite clear that we need a couple of attack-minded players in, especially against better teams. You guys would agree with that, I imagine.
Totally.
Yeah. I think
off the bench.
Yeah, and do you know what? Yeah, Daz, you took the words out of my mouth, absolutely, because when we were getting to that 60-65 minute mark, Pete, you remember when we were speaking about it, it was like, oh, well, who can we bring on? We got Elliot Anderson, we got Ryan Fraser, and that's no disrespect to Elliot Anderson or Ryan Fraser, but wouldn't it have been different if we were like, we need to get Paqueta on, we need to get Maddison on, we need to get a Sesko on? Do you know what I mean? Like that real upgrade in attacking positions.
Or has it worked for Paqueta today? Let's bring on Joey Willock for the last 25 minutes, and you know what he can do, and then when he's coming on like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Last minute before we go to sponsors, Trippier for Prime Minister. He was surprised. He thought it was 62%. He thought it might have been higher. I agree with that. That is for sure. A question here. It's been said to me, but I want your guys' thoughts on this. Actually, David Shepherd. It says, with you or with me being so sure Botman would play, how surprised were you when you saw the side, and do you think it was the right decision? It turned out to be the right decision. He won't be in versus Brighton either now after the win. I wasn't sure about that. But I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. Do you think Botman will be on the bench for the Brighton game, seeing how big it is.
Go on,
It's away from home, isn't it? Big Dan Byrne coming back to Brighton. Will they give him a good reception? Will they not? I think he'd stick with this. He'll do what he did, exactly what he did with Bruno. He'll give him more time. You only got to run out there at the very end. Might give. Again, it's hard to bring players on in defence when it's depending how the match is going. It's easier to bring them on into midfield or attack, just to try and change it. But I think it'll be Byrne again.
Chris?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Literally, as we were walking out down the steps at St James's Park, Pete was like, Botman comes in next game. Botman's in next game. And like, do you know what? Part of me can see where Pete's coming from, because the Brighton game will offer a different challenge.
Mm-hmm.
It's a funny one, isn't it? Because I suppose we've just got to, kind of go with whatever Eddie Howe thinks, because Neil Maupay and Danny Welbeck will offer a different threat to what Jesse Lingard and co offers it at Forest, especially with it being an away game. I think it is going to be very tight. I think they're going to play on the last man, and it sounds bad saying this against Dan Burn, but Brighton could see Dan Burn as the weak link at the back in terms of, if they can get that yard on him, that they're gone. So Dan Burn's going to have to really read the game well. I think if we're coming up against big, strong, bulky strikers, Dan Burn's probably perfect, even though I think Sven Botman could still do that job. But what I mean is I think it kind of leans itself more towards Dan Burn's game. If he's up against a short, nippy, quick striker, then maybe Botman would be better suited. Now, it will be interesting to see what Eddie Howe does. We all know that he doesn't tend to change a winning formula. But like Daz has just said, if Dan Burn's struggling, it would be surprising if he was to hook Dan Burn at, say, half time. I just can't really see him doing that.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting to see. We've seen it in pre-season how Eddie Howe is changed the team up quite often. Perhaps we see a new version of Newcastle United this season. Is Eddie Howe going to literally be picking players for matches where he goes, right, listen, I want you in this game because of this reason, that reason. As long as he's given a reason why he wants the player in, and if it keeps the players fresh as well throughout the season. If we've got the strength and depth, let's not forget, over previous seasons, we've not had this option. We've not had players who are more than capable of coming in and doing the job. I've always felt that we've always tried to put our best 11 on the pitch, whereas at the weekends we've seen Sven Botman wasn't playing, we've seen Elliot Anderson, people have been calling for him to play. You could Ryan Fraser. There's players on the bench, Martin Dubravka, who you could argue could and should maybe be in the starting 11. So maybe we will see a little bit of rotation from Eddie Howe. Who knows? I think there's a possibility Sven Botman could start, but whether or not I think he will, I don't know. It's whether or not Eddie Howe wants to stick with that winning formula. What about you, Pete? Have you had any more time to reflect on that, or?
No, I just thought the reason why I thought Botman might come in is because I was thinking that Eddie Howe might use certain players for certain games, and Botman coming in. So you talked about a quick, nippy striker. That's what Danny Welbeck is, and Danny Welbeck played that role really well at Old Trafford yesterday. And I think if Danny Welbeck gets the run on Burn, he's faster than him. He could commit him in certain areas at centre back, which could cause a problem. Botman's a little bit quicker, a little bit stronger, in my opinion, on the ball. But equally, he can control the ball at his feet better. And I think away from home, you need to be able to keep possession of the ball. So that's the reason why I thought they might change it. But again, Dan Burn going back to Brighton, I think it may well be that is the case. And Dan Burn is trained with Welbeck every day for a long period of time, so may well know his game. So I am now starting to think slightly that it could lean more towards Burn. But look, regardless of that, I just want the 3 points. So whoever plays and plays well, that's all that matters.
Would you be happy? Just a quick question, lads, before we finish. Would you be happy with a point away to Brighton? If someone offered you a point now, would you kind of take it and go, do you know what? We'll have that and we'll go into the next game, or are you just all out for 3 points?
We have to go for it. it would not be the worst thing in the world, because if you think back to the 3-0 drubbins we got previous seasons, but that was a totally different Newcastle, totally different manager, totally different players, and we have to go for it and give it a good go. But if the worst came to the worst, I'd take a draw, but after we've given a good go.
Yeah. Yeah. I want all 3 points. I want all 3. To be fair, we should have had him last season. When Callum Wilson went through, or he was about to tap it into
we only got took out.
Sanchez took him out. We should have had 3 points that season.
Yeah.
And you know what? They haven't
finished them now.
They've lost players. So yeah, they're still a decent side, but they've lost players. We've improved our team, and we are a much different outfit going to Brighton than we were last season. So for me, I'm looking at the way we're playing now, and I'm thinking, you know what? Let's go for the jugular. Yes, they won at Old Trafford, but I'll be honest with you, this season I'm expecting to win at Old Trafford. So, and I think there'll be many other teams that will look at winning at Old Trafford this season if they don't seriously change their ways. And I'm thinking, if anyone's doing it, it's not really a massive thing. But yeah, I want all 3 points for me personally, and I think we can get them.
Yeah,
your thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, do you know what? I'd be happy with a point, but I do take your lad's point. You know what I mean? Like if we go 1-0 up, then the game's there. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But I just think if we come away with a point, I know people will say, "Oh, it's Brighton, we could have done better." But I do think they've just come off the back of a really good win against Man United, and I suppose I'm just kind of wanting to get as many points as we can in this first 14 games, and just kind of really build on the momentum. That's certainly what I'm hoping for anyway.
No, that's fair enough. Any more questions, or are we calling it a night, lads?
No, we'll call it a day there. There's a few more, but I think similar questions. We'll call it a day there. Massive thanks to everyone in the chat. Absolutely spot on as always. On your way out, guys and girls, if you can click that thumbs up, just like that, our show, it means more people can see it. Let's try and get as many as we can on the way out. Massive thank you to all the contributors as always. And we'll be back later on in the week with more content as well. And obviously, Martin's in the chat. Great to see you, Martin. There, be back soon.
Exactly, yeah, no, and we had a little toast on Friday night as well to Martin in telling us and his mum. So that was nice as well. Well, yeah, we never mentioned sponsors, so we better mention the sponsors as well. And Simon will kill me after meeting him on Friday night. Shybarns.com. Go, there he is. There's Simon. And yeah, his 100% record is gone though. He only just put a little comment in, "Hey peeps," so his 100% of his record is gone. It does not count, Simon. Sorry about that. This is some of the merch that Shybarns have, and of course you could also find the loaded t-shirt which Chris was rocking on Saturday. So here he is. There he is. Lovely Chris. Nice one, the pink one, and there's a range of different colors, and of course there's mugs and there are water bottles as well, all available through shyburns.com. Also shout out to Pins and Prints, and I'm sure Dean from Pins and Prints will be creating some new designs now as the season gets underway, and we'll see them and we'll refresh when they do. Shout out to Retro NUFC, and I know some people got their bucket hats today. That's the bit I latch onto. I love the bucket hats, but of course you can also get kits as well. Check out the latest on Twitter for what he's got going on, and a shout out to Martin and the lads from the guys and girls even from Machine House, and the range that Martin is on. Actually, he's going to come on with us at some point as well, and talk to us a bit more about this brand that's based in Newcastle, and the new range I think was going to launch in August. So let's keep an eye out for that as well. So Machine House. That was it from the sponsors. Of course, we're also available on Spotify and iTunes as well. And as Pete just said, we're back in the week. We at least have a show on Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. There could be something else that will pop up. We also have a new show that's in concept mode that we haven't told anybody about yet, and we're going to need you for that show. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll do a bit of promo when we bring that to the front. That's it, lads. Everyone happy out? these half-hour reaction shows are going really well.
I know. Tell me about it.
There's too much to talk about, especially when we met up and stuff as well. So it's great again to meet you guys, obviously, and then everyone that met on the day, and more that I'm going to meet the next time I'm over. That is it.
I just wrote in the comments, Steve Bruce making a great start to the season, things you love to see, and literally as soon as I press send, West Brom equalised.
If anyone hasn't seen Sar's goal, I've just liked it from Peter O'Rourke. It is a halfway line special. It is a fantastic finish. So, hopefully he scores another one of those before the game's out.
They're playing Watford, is it?
Yeah.
He might be. I'm sure he's an option for a few clubs as well. Right, that's it. We'll be back soon. Keep an eye out. Hit that like and subscribe. Talk to you soon. Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
How?